Previously on 365Flicks podcast.
We went to Comic-Con in Glasgow.
One of our favourite parts of the weekend was we got to speak to some guys who, create comic book. The thing that drew us in was advertisement for a comic book called Laptop Guide to Plagued.
Post-apocalyptic Glasgow.
That was what had me.
And we met Sha, who I think is the big cheese of the company. And it's a bloody good read.
It is.
This was kind of... The art was the first thing that struck us.
Yeah, I was a Beano man more than a Dandy man.
Yeah, I wasn't a...
And the dog is called Dex as well.
Glasgow's got a plague. The main character, Thomas Mackey, he's going around trying to hunt down witches because the apocalypse has brought about witches. The art is by a woman named Tanya Roberts. Quite like to get them on.
Absolutely.
The writer of Plagued is Gary Chudleigh. This comic won awards, Best Independent Comic Book. Really well written. And I still can't believe we managed to get a hold of it. Check out Plagued. If they hadn't sent us a review copy, I probably would buy it.
I was ready to buy that as well.
I recommend you go to Blackhearted Press. You give them your money. The Laptop Guy, and that is actually Sha and Jack's book, because we want them on the show at some point. But they gave us Plagued. Plagued is awesome, and I recommend you read it.
Definitely.
Shit.
You are now entering the world of Musings of a Geek podcast network. Stay geeky, my friends.
Geek Speak, the definitive 365 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish redone whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the 365Flicks podcast. I am Chris.
And
Kev. He is... good lad, well done.
He threw me off there.
We're a little bit different tonight because I'm Skyping it in, so we might be a little bit off. So this is the 365Flicks podcast. This is episode 21, finally. So we're old enough to drink now, Kev.
Excellent. Well,
yeah.
in America, surely.
Well, yeah.
We were all right over here. But we are not the only ones Skyping in. Do you want to tell the lovely listeners about our guests?
Indeed we are not. So tonight we are joined by the writer of Plagued, which... hopefully our listeners will remember we did a review on. Which was... What episode was that? Episode 19, I want to say?
I think it was episode 19 we done the Comic-Con episode, and then we came back on episode 18 we done the Comic-Con. 19 we recapped when we had Paul on, and now we have the writer on tonight.
Yes, we do.
As you can tell, Gary, we are not the most professional ever. This isn't...
No, professionalism's boring. Chat is fun.
So, Gary, welcome to the 365Flicks podcast.
Thanks very much.
How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, really well, actually, really well. A bit tired from the day job, but, not bad.
Yeah.
What's the day job? What does a writer have as a day job?
Well, kind of marketing. I say kind of marketing, it is marketing.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
That's not very good.
I know, but it's for a non-profit, so,
all right, well. That makes you pretty fucking bulletproof, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes you tantamount Superman, I think.
Well, yeah, exactly. I didn't want to say myself, but,
We have Gary on. Gary, can I just ask, how do you pronounce your second name?
It's Chudleigh.
Chudleigh, right.
Actually with a chud.
I thought that, but I didn't want to sound like an idiot.
No, it's an odd name.
So tonight we have Gary Chudleigh on, the man behind the writing of Plague, the comic book we reviewed a few episodes back. Yeah, he's just coming on to kind of just give us the lowdown on who he is and what he does and about his... I mean, we've pretty much already said we love the book.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this, Gary, because we did love we both read the review copy that Sha sent to us. We loved the hell out of Plague, so we've been looking forward to this.
It'd be a much more interesting dynamic though if he's absolutely hated it and he's got me on. What a bad comic. Who wrote that script?
That's the trick. We've been lying to you all along.
We've got you here on the false pretenses. I actually did think that earlier. I was kind of like, when we get on tonight, Chris is going to sit there and he's just going to totally big you up big time. I might just tear you down a bit. But then I kind of thought, I can't do that. You don't do that to your guests. It would have been good, though.
Would it? Okay. Do you think you're belong on Newsnight or something like that?
Oh, that Martin Bashir.
Newsnight?
The guy that interviewed Robert Downey Jr.
Is it Newsnight?
He was
that Jeff Daniels?
Oh, that's right. He tore him apart for his past.
Yeah,
drugs, did he not? Yeah.
Proper had to go to the point where RDJ got up and walked out. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of RDJ, but dude was proper getting intensely personal.
Yeah, that's right.
But he'd done it a little while before to Quentin Tarantino as well, and Tarantino shut him down as well.
That's right, I remember that, yeah.
I think he's just an idiot. So, but we're not that professional. We're not Graham Norton. We're more Alan Carr than anything else. You know, we just Forrest Gump the whole way through our interviews.
That's a T-shirt for you.
What? We're more Alan Carr.
No, we Forrest Gump our way through our interviews.
Is that going on the merch page?
Oh hell yeah! When we have a merch page, that's going on it.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, you're just going to fit in right well here. So, just a quick recap from the last episode. The reason that I changed. What did you think of the intro, Gary?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the ripping sort of Star Wars solo and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a good pal of ours, William Milne. He done the music for us. You can find his stuff on SoundCloud. He does like video game metal. He plays it all himself, and it's awesome. Like, but I recently spliced it from the last episode because we have our Force Awakens tickets. And we are 45 days and 56 minutes away from watching that.
I actually can't wait, man. Oh. I'm actually peeing with excitement every moment. Just a little bit of pee right now.
The minute the booking confirmation came through, I'm right there with you, buddy, because I was having nothing but hassle getting them bad boys.
Oh, man.
So have you got your tickets, Gary?
No, to my shame, no.
No.
I'm going to like Morocco later on, and I'm going to Thought Bubble, which is a convention in Leeds, so all my money's tied up in that. But I mean, if it comes to opening day and I'm not there, I will probably beat someone up and steal their tickets. Oh, so I'll be fine. It's all right. It's fine.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I can't wait though.
I know. It's just going to be the absolute nuts. And JJ. Oh.
We love you, JJ.
In JJ we trust. That's kind of our mantra, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
So what we're going to do first?
We're going to get some lens flare on Star Wars.
If anybody could pull off lens flare in Star Wars, it would be JJ.
You know, the first time a lightsaber's fired up, then we're going to get a bit of lens flare off the lightsaber.
I could handle that.
I could cope with that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that would make sense, probably.
Yeah.
Right, so we also will hopefully, we're having a little bit of difficulty getting him on right now, but Sha Nazir will be coming on later as well. He is the... What is he, Gary? Is he like the... We've basically been calling him the head cheese over at Blackheart Press.
Yeah, I'm tempted to call him the Godfather. He's,
The Godfather.
Wow.
Yeah, the top dog, the big cheese.
To be fair...
Yeah, Shaz is... I think his sort of title, he co-founded BHP, and I think his title's like director or publishing director, sort of.
I honestly thought you were going to say big man there. Well, we'll hopefully be getting him on as well in a little bit. I'm having a bit of trouble getting him on just now, but we'll see how that goes. But first, you want to start with a bit of news, Chris?
Yeah, let's go a bit of news.
Just
talking about Star Wars.
Ooh.
Yeah, professional, if anything.
Segue.
Yeah, so something that I read earlier on today, if I can actually find it on my notes here, because I've got quite a few bits and pieces. Exactly. Is that a couple of cinemas in the US, a couple of cinema chains even in the US, have banned cosplay masks and cosplay weapons when it comes to going to see Force Awakens.
Yeah.
What do we think about that?
Well...
Can we see overreacting a little bit, or...?
A touch, because is that not the whole point of, like, fanboys at the very end?
Yeah.
Everybody goes cosplay? I mean, I wasn't going cosplay, but...
I'm not going cosplay, because, as we know, when we visited Glasgow Comic-Con, we talked about what cosplay we were going to do, and we decided that I was going to go as the Doctor. So you can't really go to the Star Wars dressed as the Doctor, can you?
No.
Maybe a full car, but...
Probably be the only one.
Who would you go as, Gary?
Oh, that's a question.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I'd go Jar Jar. Mr. Go see the premiere.
No. We don't do Jar Jar impressions. I draw the line of Jar Jar impressions.
Hang up right now.
Do you know what, guys? I'm just going to hang my head in shame and just bow out. Right?
Yeah, I think you should, mate, to be honest. I'm just going to cut you off now.
See, the thing is, we actually can't see him, so he may well be sat there wearing a goddamn Jar Jar t-shirt. Because we know they're out there.
Do you know what? Spoilers, I'm actually in full Jar Jar cosplay right now.
On Jar Jar onesie, is it?
Yeah. Exactly.
I've been
I feel a bit sick.
He feels a bit sick. I love it. Yeah, I saw that. That's totally overreacting. If you can't go dressed up, what's the point in going?
Well, I mean, The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, that guy didn't wear a mask. Lots of guys that shut up places don't wear a mask. They don't need it. They've got automatic rifles. They can just storm in. So yeah.
Is this what
do
it's
they
all
think
about?
maybe they're thinking if they wear a mask, they won't be able to see the shooter on CCTV?
Is that the reasoning behind it?
They usually always get kind of stormed upon anyway. Like, they
Yeah.
don't make it that far.
I can't believe that's.
I don't know what the it's two big cinema chains that have said it though, and so they're not allowed masks, they're not allowed weapons, and they're not allowed face paint.
Not allowed face
paint.
That's mental. That is absolutely mental.
Jeez.
So I don't know what the hell they're thinking there, to be honest. But
So does that mean we're going to the Maltons then? Because I'm sure they'll let us cosplay.
no, we're not in the US, though, are we, Kevin?
No, well, is it just the US? Like,
It's just the US, yeah.
I think that's mental. People just want to
So
get
there
off
you
the
go.
high horse. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So yeah, like there was one thing that I wanted to bring up. I just wanted to. Did everybody see the trailer for Preacher? This new
No.
AMC. It's a comic book adaptation again.
No, I didn't.
Have you seen this, Gary?
I did hear.
No, not yet.
It's
I heard our buddies at History of Bad Ideas talking about it earlier on, though.
Is there a new
on their
episode
latest
out?
episode? Yeah.
Did they give us a slate?
No, I've not listened to the whole thing, though, mind. That might well come later on. If you've not listened to these guys, Gary, I'm not going to do what I did with Jock and Nerd. If you've not listened to these guys, give them a go. They're really good. They're really funny.
No, it was them you said it about in the last episode. You said don't listen
that's
to them.
what I mean. I wouldn't say about Jock and Nerd. They were on the show with us.
All right.
That'd be a bit rude, if anything.
To your guest. That would be cool.
So yeah, they were talking about the trailer, and it doesn't sound like my cup of tea, to be honest.
Honestly, watch the trailer. But
Yeah, I've just not got round to it, but I do fancy it. I think I read the first sort of trade paperback graphic novel of the series, and it was good. But I don't really know why I didn't continue it. It was weird. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt that.
It sounds really good. I've not read anything about it, but I heard another podcaster talking about it, and it sounded right up my alley. So
Is it not just a bunch of religious stuff?
No, kind of a little bit from what I can tell. But in the trailer, and it's going to sound really stupid, but you know how one actor can totally make you want to watch something.
Yeah.
In the very end of the trailer, you know Woody from This Is England, Joe Gilgun?
Yeah.
No.
He turned up right at the end of the trailer and he looked fucking awesome. Straight away, I'm sold, and he was doing like a really... He played Rudy in Misfits as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Am I the only one who's known who Joe Gilgun is here? Come on, he's
the skinny guy in This Is England.
yeah.
And I didn't see Misfits, but I recognise his face.
You know what it is though? Chris might actually recognise the name if I say Eli Dingle.
No. Who's that?
Try to drop some Emmerdale on you. Try to catch you out.
You're doing what? Have you actually met me? I don't watch any of that bullshit.
Yeah, you do. You love it, man. Right,
Anyway.
so crack on then.
Yeah, so next bit, we're getting a new Star Trek television show in 2017.
Yay!
Yay! So the producer of the movies is going to be executive producer on the show. What do you think about that?
The new movies?
Yeah.
Is the producer
what's his name? Alex Kurtzman is going to be executive producer on it.
Of Kurtzman and Archie?
Yes.
Wow.
I guess.
All of a sudden I'm in.
So do we think it's going to be set around the Chris Pine sort of universe, or
that would be good. If
are we going to get a rebooted Next Generation, or
I would have a Chris
what do
Pine
we think?
series. No way it's going to happen. Though.
There's no way in hell that's going to happen. No.
Yeah. Maybe it'll just be set within that universe or something. I've don't know much about Trek.
There's nothing wrong with it not being on the Enterprise. You know, you could have another Deep Space Nine type series, but at the same time as the movies or something.
I don't want another Deep Space Nine fiasco.
What's wrong with Deep Space Nine?
I know you love that show, and I know you'll back that show to the hilt, but it's crap, man. It's just pure crap.
It's not crap. You're crap.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the argument over, is it? It's not crap, you're crap.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
You could have went with your mum's crap. Right, well, I didn't really have anything else for news because I haven't seen anything else I fancied. Is there anything that's maybe piqued your interest, Gary, something coming up? Doesn't have to be TV or movies.
News-wise?
There's not been a lot, has there?
No.
I mean, we only just recorded, like, what was it, a week ago, so we kind of got everything off our chest.
I've got more. Have you seen Spectre, Gary?
Oh, I have seen Spectre, yeah.
You have? What did you think of it?
Not as good as Skyfall.
Yeah. Hey, that's pretty much the general feeling about it. I felt the same. It wasn't as good as Skyfall. I still enjoyed it though.
Yeah, it's a lot of like sort of good action sequences, but I just kept on thinking there'd be bits that could have been better and better put together and all. And James Bond's planning it was pretty stupid as well. Like, I don't get why he would think that was the best route to solve his issue in the plot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to say too much, but you know, it was still a fun ride. But Skyfall felt like a genuinely good film.
Yes, I completely agree. Skyfall was better. I did like Christoph Waltz more than what was his name from Skyfall? I forget.
He was always going to be the showstopper, Christoph Waltz, though.
To me, he did make the film for me. To be honest, I did like Christoph Waltz in it.
That's pretty much. Is he Blofeld?
Yes, he is.
Because I've not seen the movie
Spoilers.
yet. Well, come on. Everybody that listens to the show knows that we are a spoiler heavy podcast.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, Spectre has broken the UK box office record for the biggest UK debut in history.
What did it beat?
It knocked off Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Well, that just says everything.
We don't diss Harry Potter on this show, alright?
We do, though. We do.
No, we don't. Shut up.
I pretty much went heavy at J.K. Rowling in the last episode, so we do.
Yes, you did. And you were wrong. I've actually got one more thing to talk about.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's talk about The Flash. Because I watched episode whatever last night, and I'm done.
You're done.
I'm done.
That's
it's
finished.
deleted from my Sky Planner. I'm done.
Really? What episode was that?
The one at the end, the big shark fuck came and...
Yeah. But Harrison Wells...
I don't care.
Surely you want to see how that's going to pan out.
I don't care. Honestly.
Really?
I don't know what's happened to it. I loved season 1. It ended shite. The last episode was awful. And I know you loved it and you were all crying because Barry was crying every fucking 2 minutes. But this season, I know it's only like 4... I think it's 4 episodes here now. We're an episode behind the States here. So I guess like the States will have had the full Sharky episode last night maybe or something.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But you know what? The whole episode, I think I texted you actually during the episode,
did,
right?
Yeah,
this has got 31 more minutes to be not deleted from my planner.
Yeah, so
And
I didn't even reply to that because I was just like, you fucking picky bastard. You called me awkward.
You were more awkward than I am, but yeah, I'm not buying this season at all.
Well, I suppose
I'm out.
I'll tell you what I am. I'm out.
I'm out. Why did I sound more Irish and you were more Scottish there? That's a worry.
It is a
I'm
worry.
alright.
How are you?
Potato.
No, give it time. Don't drop it yet.
No, I'm done.
Okay, well, you know what you can do? Just watch Supergirl. Okay.
Yeah. I think I put something on. I was speaking to Chris Aitchison, and I'm sure I said to him I'd rather actually watch the Supergirl pilot again than watch another episode of The Flash.
That's bad.
It is bad because the Supergirl pilot, as we know, was not good at all.
However, it had absolutely amazing figures.
But apparently, like from this
the second episode's tanked.
this week's episode, it's not done too great.
It's absolutely tanked.
But that's because, it's Supergirl, so people are going to watch it. So it will do good figures, but then it was crap. So
I heard people in the canteen talking about it today who clearly have never watched a comic book superhero TV show in their life. And they were women. So because it was Supergirl, a female superhero, and it just made me think, if 4 women on their periods can't get behind Supergirl, you've got no hope. Just give up.
I think it wasn't all bad. I think it's got merit.
No, it was all bad.
It wasn't all bad.
No, yeah, it was all bad.
The lass that's playing Supergirl, I think, is quite...
What, Melissa Benoist?
The lassie that's playing Supergirl, I think, is quite charismatic. I think she's... I think she's an okay Supergirl.
I just like her name because it sounds like moist.
I think Ally McBeal is quite good.
What, the show or her in Supergirl?
Yeah. Just on a side note, just because.
I'm just putting it out there. Ally McBeal was good. I know we're doing a podcast about other things, but just want to say Ally McBeal's good.
Ally McBeal was good though.
Yeah, the show was.
I liked her in that. She was okay in that. So the next bit I've got.
Can just 2 seconds there? Sha, are you in the room now? Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Hi, guys.
Excellent.
Hello
buddy.
there.
Hi there.
So just
How are you doing?
just to let you-
I sound like a crazy stalker who's been listening from afar. But I just kind of snuck in the room when no one was looking.
that's normally how I do it, mate.
Yeah.
So just let everybody know, all the listeners, Sha is now in. I've been. It was a fault on my end, Sha. I'd sent you the request, and you'd obviously accepted it, but apparently I had to accept it on my end again somehow because Skype's weird.
That's all right. No worries.
But Sha's in now. Sha is, as we just said, Gary so eloquently put it, he's the big cheese over at BHP, the Black-Hearted Press. Is that about right, Sha?
The big cheese. I don't know about the big cheese.
I also said Godfather. I thought that was.
Oh wow, this is very kind.
Yeah.
Horrible way. It makes me sound like a right mean bugger. Yeah, no,
I would be happy with The Godfather. I'd be happy if someone called me that.
I guess I'm the publisher at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of the buck sort of stops with me to a point. With a lot of these things, it's between sort of me and Jack and Mark, and it kind of kicks back and forth.
So basically, if you don't like an idea that Gary has, you just tell him no.
Well, no, I don't. I don't do that with Gary at all. Actually, Gary works quite well with Jack because Jack's our main editor.
Yeah.
So usually the process is that if Gary's written something, then it'll go to Jack first, and then he'll kind of give it the once over, and they'll kind of work out something which is which does the job. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, if we've never had that situation where guys kind of turned up with something, kind of gone, here it is, and I've gone, right, that's terrible.
And I'm really hoping that trend will continue.
Yeah.
Is that a case though, Gary, that you and Jack kind of like, oh shit, we can't take this to Sha, we better fix it?
I mean, nothing's ever really been that strong. No opinion's been strongly divided enough to do that. Like, Jack's quite laid back. Like, he'll read the script and his feedback's quite minimal.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's a good thing, but the feedback he gives that is minimal is also amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it will just be like to tweak, like, this character would probably be feeling that at this point, so then I can rewrite that entire issue based on what that character's feeling about the situation he's reacting to is in. So I don't generally get big buckets of notes. He just usually says, that's good, change a few things. And so I think that speaks well that he obviously kind of likes my writing style too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack's a good guy to work with. So usually if Jack's happy, usually Sha's happy.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I mean, I take Jack's kind of opinion very seriously. And I kind of think you need to, when you're working collaboratively with people as well, as you kind of need to let people do what they do and let them do it well. And it's that kind of thing of like having aces in places. So you kind of, everyone that's good at a thing, let them just kind of crack on with it. And unless something is glaringly, obviously not working, then that's when you bring it up and have those conversations about it. And sometimes we've had those conversations, those kind of conversations tend to happen either A, because there's a massive plot hole or a device that isn't working, or it happens because there's usually a visual thing, so a panel might not be working, but in most cases it's normally we have these conversations about the comic book covers more than anything. Comic book covers are always it's how do we get a comic book cover to work in today's day and age.
Because you kind of got to grab people, haven't you?
You got to grab people, and you've got to kind of get the story across, and it's the covers are a little mini pitch in itself.
Oh yeah.
So us, because we've just gone through that process of looking at the covers that we've had for issue 1 and 3 of Plagued, and we've just in the past kind of week or so just finalised and decided on the cover for the graphic novel, the trade paperback version of everything, which is a brand new piece of art which Tanya Roberts has done, and it's fantastic. But it needed tweaking. It needed a little bit of tweaking. It needed some colour editing, and it needed one of the characters moving. So there's lots of little things that we kind of had to kind of do.
Yeah.
But everyone's really gracious, and we work with really nice people that are all happy to make those changes and are accommodating.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a fantastic place and a good environment to be working in. Anyway,
yeah, I think so. I think it's because we, I think we all make stuff, so we all know how, that it's criticism is part of the gig as well. So
it just makes you better. Criticism every time it will open up your game just to make it. You come back stronger and better. There's never been a time where I've got feedback and thought, no, that's rubbish. It's always been on the money.
Well, we can agree with that because people keep telling us this podcast crap. So
I've never heard that once.
Upset by both being on it, so that's okay.
So with that, I think we should move away from the news and we'll just kind of swiftly move into this section where we just we had the idea of maybe trying to, not necessarily everybody knows how a comic book is started from the initial concept, which is kind of where Gary sort of comes in, and to the point of when it gets put out there on the shelf, which is the point in where Sha comes in and the Black Art Press. So we kind of wanted to go down that way. Is that about right, Chris?
Yeah, that's what we kind of thought. Not everybody knows that. We don't know that. We don't know what the process is. So
full disclaimers, we know very little about how comic books kind of work. We've read a comic book, we like comic books, but we don't know the ins and outs sort of thing.
Yeah, so basically the idea is, we just like a little bit of inside information about how, if one of our listeners has an idea for a comic book, what's the process from concept to getting it published? I mean, what happens first when somebody has an idea for a story, for example, for a comic book or a graphic novel even? What would happen first?
You're not going to pitch your Care Bears story, are you?
Oh, God damn it, Kev, that was for later on.
Because it very much sounds like you're pitching your Care Bears idea again.
Well, I think so. From my perspective, what normally happens is that someone will pitch you. We take like an open submission every sort of 6 months or so.
Yeah, I saw that on your website. That's proper interesting. That.
And from that, for the recent round that we had there, we probably had about 40 odd projects that were pitched to us from across the UK and into America and into Europe, and there's lots and lots of different types of work. So for us, we have like a set of submission guidelines, and the submission guidelines kind of state what it is we don't want, basically. And what we tend to not want is we don't want any superhero stuff, and no superhero comics. But people still send us superhero comics, but that's okay.
Laptop Guy's a bit of a superhero.
Well, no, not really. No, not really. It's I think the thing with Laptop Guys, it's all it has all the triggers of what you think a comic book should be, but it kind of isn't, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess like the Laptop Guy name is what sounds like a superhero comic, but actually it's not that at all. It's a terrible sitcom about
it's not terrible.
Well, it's yeah.
I know what you're saying though.
So for us, we get stuff sent to us. So if you're a person and you've written a script, what we like as a publisher is we like people to come at us as teams. So if you work with someone as an artist or a writer, then you've got a combo, and having the combo is great because you've got people that are already working together as a kind of cohesive unit. So it kind of takes a bit of process away for us as well as a publisher. But usually what people will do is they'll then pitch their idea, and then you either like it or you don't like it. You don't like it, you send them some feedback about why that it's not right for us, but these are the reasons why we haven't chosen it. And if it is good, then we go through, we talk about contracts and all that kind of boring stuff that needs to be done. And then that's where Gary comes in. And we kind of go to, for example, with Gary, we were like, Gary had a project and like, yeah, we really like this.
Well, I was just about to ask that. So how did Plagued come across your desk?
It didn't come across the desk, did it? Did you not pitch it to someone else and then you showed it to me?
It was a weird one. It was like, originally it was written as a short for the Phoenix, and it just didn't quite work. It didn't really have a home there. And then it just sat dormant, which was a shame. And then Sha, I think that we just got talking on Facebook and you saw Tanya's artwork.
I think I seen the artwork for it, and
yeah.
I got an idea of what. I had a rough idea based on seeing those couple of pages. I think Beer Deviant Art or something I'd seen, and I was like, actually, I'm really interested in this. So let's talk more about what it is and then what it could be.
It was quite good to have that opportunity to come knocking. Because then we sent it to Jack, and I believe Mark told me Jack read halfway into the first page. Now this may have just been storytelling, so forgive me if it's not true. But just reading into that, he said to you, Sha, that he's had to go for it. Would that be correct? Or something along those lines, something like he knew instantly?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That must have been a cool as hell feeling.
Yeah, especially since Jack's like...
What's happened to Gary? We stuck him in a tiny tin.
Yeah, there you go.
My hand was covering the speaker, whatever the hell it is.
Oh, no, Gary.
But yeah...
Is this your first podcast?
Yeah.
And he's away again.
Oh, right, okay, I think I know where the microphones are now. Right, okay.
It's all good, it's all good.
So what did you guys hear?
We heard muffle. All of that.
I was saying it was good to hear from Jack because he's like a proper professional writer, and for him to say that your stuff's good is a major milestone for my personal being anyway, because I've been writing for about 7 years and now I've only got to the stage where I'm good enough today, because it was a lot of time honing your craft and learning, getting better, researching how to write.
Well, I was going to say, you've got to spend the grunt work, haven't you? Kind of, like you say, honing it and getting there.
Yeah, definitely. Like you'll write some proper rubbish early on, but you'll be proud of that rubbish heap.
Yeah.
And you won't realise how rubbish it is till you look back. But it's always a development process, and it does take ages to get to a stage where you actually feel comfortable saying, do you know what, I am as good as I could be at this. Not as good as I could be, there's always room to get better.
Yeah.
But only after so many years and now working with BHP, which has been like the best sort of creative experience I've had in my comics career, if you would call it that.
You don't have to say that just because he's here.
I know, like, I'm working with, I need to suck up a bit,
Please do.
No, but it does sound like a fantastic environment to be working in. I mean, I know personally, we only met Sha, Mark and Jack for maybe, I think it was 2 or 3 minutes, but we kind of walked through the door, we saw Laptop Guy and we were like, I quite fancy having a look at that. The artwork looks... It popped and it drew me straight in. Yeah. I said to Chris, let's go and get that. And then Jack straight away, was it Mark we spoke to first, Chris?
I think so.
Yeah, and he came.
I'm crap at remembering names, you know that.
He turned around and he says, Laptop Guy is good. And he was kind of like, but Plagued, he was like, have a look at Plagued. And they kind of pushed that on us, and we absolutely loved it. And I'm glad you guys did. But just that couple of minutes, I got the sense that you're just some really cool guys, some creative guys with something you want to put out there, and I quite like that. It was infectious.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've said it before. We've said it quite a few times now. That was our first experience of a Comic-Con event. But meeting you guys, that was the Saturday or the Sunday. I think it was the Saturday.
The Saturday.
That was our favourite part of the whole weekend. It was that was so cool meeting you guys. So
that's very kind of you guys. It's just one of those. What we try and do is we try and be as open and as accommodating and I think you said it there with it was like infectious. If we can be kind of upbeat and enjoying the things that we're making and doing, and we can pass it on to other people, and then we can bring new readers in. That's kind of what part of our mission is really.
Well, that's kind of why we wanted to review the book, and we wanted to try and get you guys on. I mean, we're just podcasts are kind of taken off now. They've been around for about 10 or 11 years, and it's only just now that they're starting to get somewhere. So it was like whatever we can do to put out there, we'll do it. Because like I say, we love the book and we love meeting you guys as well.
Brilliant, that's great. That's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure it was my favourite part of the weekend though, Chris. I did strip in front of Pod from Game of Thrones.
That is right, yes you did. Was that your favourite part of the weekend?
It was embarrassing, but...
But we were...
Who's Pod? What's a Pod?
Daniel Portman from Game of Thrones.
Was this... like there was that plot line where Podrick's very well...
is it him?
Was this to compare?
Oh no, he didn't strip up on that half. No, what happened was I've got a Spider-Man tattoo on my forearm.
Nice.
And Daniel Portman noticed that and said it was a cool tattoo. Kev's got a Batman tattoo on his back where nobody can see it. Stupid. So after Daniel Portman said that my Spider-Man tattoo was cool, Kev kind of flipped into a jealous rage and then took his shirt off.
I had to show him. But it was more it was the lassie sat beside him who was obviously like keeping an eye on people and all that. She kind of like straight away without a second's thought was like, it's not finished though, is it? Which really cut me down a bit.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Especially with half your clothes off.
So Gary's got the idea for the book.
Yes.
And Jack's in love with it. Jack brings it to. I assume he brings it to you then, Sha?
Well, we just have that conversation together.
Yeah.
And we, the three of us, me, Jack, and Mark, will talk about it because we're equal partners in BHP. So anything, and we're a small, tiny company. So anything that we make, we have to all have that decision and all be behind it because we've only got finite sort of resources. So yes, we all look at it, we all like it, and we're like, right, what else can happen to it to make it work? And I think that based on what it was. I think Gary had. I think when you originally done it, it was for the Phoenix format. So I think it was only 4 pages. So you were kind of thinking of it as a serialization.
Yeah, it was the first sort of issue was split in 4 parts. So it still followed the same sort of story, but it was very structured in that way. So
yeah,
it needed a full rewrite. In fact, I'm trying to think when I actually rewrote it.
I was thinking it's there as well, but I guess you had to rewrite it, and then and because we also said, can we make it 20 pages so that we can then get we can finish the introduction, the sort of pilot, which is issue 1, and then carry on that part of our story, and so we can create a book out of the first 3 issues as a complete story. Which is our sort of overarching kind of idea for the book. And also we ended up changing the title as well.
That's right, yeah.
And we were like tentatively like, should we ask? Should we not ask? We're like, yeah, let's ask. We don't have the title.
I'm really glad you did. It wasn't a great title.
What was the original title?
I don't even want to say it.
Oh, go on.
Go on, say it.
We need some inside scoops here.
Right, okay. Yeah. Right, I'm going to take a deep breath. Right, okay, it doesn't make sense, right? It
doesn't make sense.
I don't think I can bring myself to say it right. It was...
Shall I say it?
Yeah, you say it.
Okay, well, it was called Le Toisette.
Shit.
Was that, wasn't it? Le Toisette.
Yeah, because the paradise that there were, the big rich folk live in, called that. So we called it that, but then realised that,
it could quickly be parodied. You can add an extra T in there and it changes everything.
Yeah, exactly. And, it wasn't it's not the easiest name to market, is it? If you're delivering your pitch and say, that's good, sci-fi comedy thriller, it's called Le Toisette.
It's like a fan line.
It's like a fan man.
Kind of sounds like a French college student's written it.
Yeah, exactly. Pierre Chudleigh.
Which is pretty much when people would
Pierre Chudleigh.
That's very nice.
So Gary, the idea, where did it come from? I know you had it as like a short story kind of thing for is it the Phoenix format?
Yeah, that's right.
But where did it kind of, what was it about setting it around a plagued kind of post-apocalyptic Glasgow sort of, how did that come
Have you ever been to Glasgow?
I have.
That was actually one of the big selling points was as soon as Mark said it's set in a post-apocalyptic Glasgow, Kev and I were both, we're in.
I kind of had Neil Marshall's Doomsday running through my head, and I'm thinking if it's half as good as that, I'm in. But yeah, where did the kind of the premise, the concept, the story come from? When
it actually comes to the whole generating the idea, it's always a bit of a strange process. I think because my brain is always mechanically putting together stories. I'd just finished writing 6 issues of like a really, attempting to be hard sci-fi time traveling dystopian tale, and it was so dreary and so like ultimately boring because of it that it just threw me off. And I thought, you know what, I want to just write something that's fun, because even though I don't think I can write comedic stuff, it always seems when I'm actually just writing it, things come off as quite punchy. So
yeah, definitely.
Plagued was kind of born out of, right, what do I love? I love that sort of post-apocalyptic genre. I love the sort of, witch magic side of things from being, a Buffy fanboy all my life.
Oh, don't say that in front of Chris.
Oh, good man.
I've lost the call now.
And also just I love my dog, the Jack Russell, so I thought, right, okay, let's play with these elements, let's like put them together. But it's not just about randomly sticking stuff together, you need to, when you're coming up with these ideas, it's usually based on a theme. I usually get the story ideas, they come from my political or social thoughts or views or opinions kind of thing. Yeah. So that will kind of be the centre of it, and then how the characters are and how they develop will base around that as well. And, you take inspiration from stories you've already read or watched, and you think, oh, that was cool. I want to write something like that. And then all that sort of bundles together, and you get the recipe from reading about storytelling too. Like, I've read books like Robert McKee's story under, what was another one? There was one in writing comics, and Alan Moore's writing for comics. All kind of stuff like that. Once you have the idea, what you want to say and how you want to entertain people while saying it, you can kind of take it from there.
And so it just kind of, as soon as you threw those ingredients into the mix, it just kind of wrote itself, sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of, to an extent. Like, there's a lot more, like, you maybe write a description of where it's set, and you'll write the characters' arcs as well. So you think, who is this character, and why is this character who is important to the theme you're trying to portray? And then that character needs to change over the storyline as well. So it's like, what's going to initiate his change? And, a lot of storytelling's to do with, binary opposites, good, evil, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, right, okay, what's going to be the most explosive conflict that will get people interested? And it's like, I know, the witch hunter and the witch need to become friends,
I was kind of sold straight away with that, kind of how he sort of finds out that he has that power, and she's like, well, you're kind of a witch. But then it was when you introduced, I think it was in the end of the second issue or the start of the third, when Salem came into it. Oh man, I was hooked.
Yeah, good stuff. Good to hear.
As you go forward, are we going to see more of him? Or
Salem? Yeah, I would say Salem's going to be the,
Don't give it away.
see the way I tried to like steal some secrets.
Yeah,
there?
I know. I better be quiet. Well,
you don't want to give it away. What you want people who are listening to do is go on to blackheartedpress.com and buy them.
Yeah, exactly.
Read them for themselves.
That will plant the hints of what's to come. So I would definitely just buy them right now. Just get to your computer.
Yeah, seriously, buy them right now, because there are 3 issues so far and they're cracking. So buy them right now.
I read it the first time for the review, and I went through it again when we had Paul on, and I actually went through it again last night. And it was only last night that I realised how Scottish it actually is. Because remember,
because Kev, you said to me that there's not that much accent in it, and I kind of thought, what the hell are you talking about?
The first time I read it, it didn't come across, but it really does come across.
Yeah, we tried to find like a good balance. That was I think the original script was much more heavy Scottish.
Proper talking Neds and that.
Yeah, and like the feedback was kind of like, right, let's maybe try and dilute it a bit, and I'm glad we did, because you've still picked up the Scottishness of it, but I don't think there's enough there that it's off-putting.
It's not at all. Like I say, the first time I read it, it didn't punch me in the face, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas
I think that puts people off it. Like if something's too regionalised, you just think small story, you're writing for your pals,
Yeah, there is that, but yeah.
But I think I've got the good balance, but I think it needs to be in there because the characters need to have their voice,
Yeah, it makes it accessible, ultimately.
Yeah, definitely.
So a quick word on we don't have Tanya on. I've not really had a chance to speak to Tanya at all. But how did that come about with Tanya? How did you team up with her?
Well, I knew Tanya just from the sort of general comic scene. Like we'll see each other at conventions, and in the whole comic scene, you end up becoming friends with pretty much most people.
Yeah.
So then it becomes, you've built that relationship. Then it's like, hey, maybe we should do something. And every time I saw Tanya at a convention, I'm saying that, Tanya, your stuff's absolutely amazing. I really want to work with you.
I have to say, I stumbled upon, when I was doing a bit of research for that first episode, I stumbled upon her DeviantArt page, as Sha mentioned before. Instantly, I was like, on the Facebook to Chris, you have to look at this girl's stuff. You have to look at this stuff. Like the turtles, kind of all that work she's got on there is phenomenal.
It is. Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
She's brilliant, and she's as much of a storyteller as I am. Like the way that she'll bring the characters from concept to full blown designs, but she in the initial stages she also came back with like opinions on their personality as well, like what she was feeling when she was drawing them.
Well,
it's like it's such an equal partnership in that as the creative team, and I feel very fortunate to have landed Tanya because she is a true professional.
Yeah.
And yeah, our stuff is just fantastic.
Sorry, someone just hit our buzzer. I'm just gonna go get it.
No, don't worry.
I'm back.
Special guest.
So Gary, when it comes to that bit, working with Tanya, the two of you working together, how does that come about then? Because obviously Tanya's putting it on the page,
yeah,
but it's your words. So I mean, how does it come the drawings on the page of the graphic novel.
Well,
how does that bit come about?
I'm back.
Who was it?
It's Greg. Greg what?
Hey, Greg what?
Hey guys.
Oh, we thought we had Billy Connolly coming on. See, Gary, you've upset us now.
What's it? Oh, the question was about page to page, wasn't it? Or
Yeah,
script
so,
to page?
like-
Yeah, so from the the story that you've written out and the words and what have you that you've written out, how does that, when you're speaking back and forth to Tanya, how does that translate into her actually coming up with the drawings and the actions on the page and what's going to go onto what pane and all that kind of thing? How does that all work?
You write the script in a format which dictates the panels and dictates the character's reaction and their dialogue. Although some writers tend to do quite a lot of direction in their writing, as in this panel's this size and a low angle panel. There's a tad of that, but because Tanya's really good at narrative storytelling through art, that there's no real point in me trying to dictate it too much. As Sha kind of says, everybody sort of knows their game, so there's that element of trust. So
So it's when you know and trust the artist to know what you mean, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll send the script. She'll have some feedback, then she'll draw it up. And there may be some notes in the art, but rarely.
See, like when you have your script and you've got say just take one issue, because this is something that I've always wondered about the comic book process. When you have your script and then you pass it over to Tanya for the art or wherever it goes after that, how long does it normally take from your initial script to completion of an issue?
Good question. It depends, especially at the sort of on the indie scene, because we're all busy with our kind of things. I'm quite lucky being a writer in a sense that it's not as hard as drawing.
Easy. Let's just be.
You just write it and say there you go.
It's more about time. It's more about to kind of put into something. A writer spends a lot more time thinking about it when doing other stuff, and then the actual process of them sitting down and slogging is just them actually just working through the script. Yeah. Whereas the artist then has a shorter period of thinking time, and then has to, once they get the kind of the go ahead, the green light to kind of move ahead with the thumbnails to actually make the art. They've got a much bigger slog, and it really just depends on how fast or how slow they are when they're working. And in Tanya's case, anyway, as a working professional, she's got lots of other commitments with Disney, with DC, and all sorts of other companies who are much bigger fish. So it's kind of where we kind of bow to her kind of professionalism, and when she can kind of get the gig done, she gets the gig done. And to be honest, we create a realistic schedule. That we chat about kind of between the sort of three or four of us, and she always met it, always meets it. So I think the fastest she's ever done a book is in like a month, maybe.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I think part 3, she did it in a month, and that was with a sort of a 3-month-old baby.
I always kind of imagine like the whole thing taking like up to 6 months for one issue, and it's
sometimes it can do. It just
it was just a question I wanted to ask.
It can take that long. Just everything that Sha sort of said. Although my writing's managed to get quite faster. Like the first issue I ever wrote took me like 8 months, but now I can like fire one out in like 2.
I'm glad you did it, Sha.
I think like I'd done Plagued issue 4 in about 2 weeks. So you kind of.
It's awesome, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good once you get that to that level.
I think also once you kind of going into like issue 4 just now, I think once you've got past kind of understanding what the characters look like and how they are, how they react. As a writer, you've got all this information in your head, and as the artist, you've got that little box that you kind of open, and it's kind of like that's where all the Plague stuff is. And you remember how they move and how they react and all these kind of things. It's much easier for you to kind of go back into that muscle memory and then make the book much quicker.
So you're on issue 4 now. How far can you see it going?
It's ongoing. I think I'd like to see it go quite a long while. It just depends. What I've done is kind of thought about the Robert Kirkman way of doing things, where I've got a final story arc. So if it got to the stage where it was like, for any sort of reason, it was like, right, we need to wrap this up, guys. The next 3 issues, or we're doing our arcs in 3 issues, I would jump to that arc and I could resolve the story in a satisfactory way. But there's lots and lots of wiggle room in between them. So it's just to see how it goes. Would that be right, Sha? Unless Sha's planning to cancel me in issue 5, I don't know.
I don't know if we should drop this on him now, Sha. We actually call.
I need to have a conversation with you just now on air. Basically, with the book, we've made some comics, and the way that we make comics up to this point is we've been making comics as sort of micro publishers. So the kind of stuff that you were seeing, those are kind of very small, kind of volume, kind of indie way of making comics. And what we're doing as a publisher into our next phase, which has been working on for the past kind of few months now, and what will be actioning happening early next year, is that our solicitations now, where we'll be making books, and when we're making books, so that's trade paperbacks, graphic novels, making those allow us to reach a much wider audience. So we'll be on Amazon, we'll be in Waterstones, we'll be available through various distributors in the UK anyway. So we'll be hopefully reaching a wider audience, and in turn that means that we can potentially sell more books. And ultimately, as Gary says, it just depends how we get on it. If people buy our stuff, then we can keep making it.
Yeah,
sure. And hopefully people will pick up the trade paperback of Plague, which we have slated for February or March, I think it is, of next.
In time for my birthday.
Yay.
I don't even have to ask the questions here. I was just about to ask that, and you just pimp it yourself.
Always selling.
But yeah, always be closing. But yeah, Gary mentioned that. I think it was about a week ago. We were talking about it on Facebook that when we were trying to get this episode up and running, it was sort of like that the trade's coming next year.
Yeah.
I mean, how that must be a big part of your selling portion. Like as you're saying, like is that where the money kind of is now in the trade?
For us, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that you're making comics as a micro publisher is that you're making small print runs, and most of the time you're selling them face to face at conventions. And there are a few shops that take indie books, but basically what happens is that comic shops don't really haven't sort of moved with how independent comics are made. So we're not making magazines monthly like Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
So, you don't have that weekly shift on a shelf. So when you make a comic, basically if you're an indie person, you've spent all this time making a comic and a shop takes it, it'll only be on the shelf for a week before it's taken off the shelf.
Quite a quick turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas if we're making books, everything has a spine. You go to the graphic novel section. Ultimately, all of a sudden, everything has got a space, and it will stay on the shelves. It won't be sort of discarded to the back issue section. That's the kind of plan going forward. Anyway, we'll see.
So we're going to be seeing a Blackhearted Press published Plagued trade paperback next year in February.
Yeah. Well, we've actually changed our name to just BHP Comics.
BHP Comics.
Yes, we've stopped using Blackhearted Press. Slowly taking it off of all of our kind of social media and all of our other bits and pieces. And the reason for that was that Blackhearted Press has slightly negative connotations in the title of it.
Yeah, it sounds quite dark, doesn't it?
It just sounds. And when we first started off as a cooperative, we were making quite dark comics, and then the last remaining dark comic is Laptop Guy, which is really just too dark. But we were making horror comics and stuff as well. So we've just amalgamated everything to just being BHP, and everything just being BHP means that we're bringing out much broader kind of catalogue of works.
I mean, I know you're saying about dark there. When you sent us the Plagued review copy, you sent us a few other things. You also sent me Maximum Allen, which
that's quite dark.
I have to say, I absolutely love that.
Did you?
I've not read that yet because, funnily enough, I've actually started reading The Godfather. So I've not read that yet, but I am going to read that.
Okay, cool. Well, let us know what you think, because we'll be bringing Maximum Allen out. We'll be putting it out for pre-order as a collected edition. So I think it's going to be like a 120-page graphic novel.
I think that would be fantastic because that is just surreal.
It's really surreal. Yeah, it's very surreal. And it's something that was one of our first books that we commissioned that was not by that wasn't a self-published book from BHP. It wasn't one of the owners actually making their own book. So that was our first ever book of us going out and finding somebody else and bringing it in. And it was a long process making those books. for various reasons with writers and artists not having the kind of commitment and time to be able to put it out and kind of get the book made. So it took a long time to make.
Well, as first attempts go, it's pretty solid for me. Like when the trades start coming out for Plagued, and when you get a trade up and running for that, we'll plug that as well. And I mean,
Thank you very much.
Anything we can do for you guys, we definitely will. I mean, we're only a small podcast, but we're getting there.
You know, I actually will buy the trade back of the trade issue of Plagued, because it's one of those ones where, you know, when it's like V for Vendetta, where you actually just want to have the physical copy of it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's
So
great.
Plagued, I actually will buy that trade copy when you bring that out next year.
Cheers, guys.
But not the single issues. Where's your commitment, man?
Oh, I know.
I've already got the PDF of that.
Look at the variant covers.
Thing is, though, when we met you guys in Glasgow, we were actually all ready to buy them. We were gonna, you know, because as Kev said earlier on, we were attracted by Laptop Guy, and that's why we went up to the stand, and then, you know, we started speaking about Plagued. And we wanted to go to Glasgow Comic Con and speak to guys exactly like you, and so we were all ready to buy all 3 issues of Plague that that day, and then Mark said to come back later on.
What were you thinking?
Matt thought it was me that was selling it.
I think it was you that was selling it.
me that was selling it.
Damn you, Greg.
And they kind of turn around and they were like, "Oh well, wait till Sha comes back and he might give you Plague to have a read of it." And we were like, "Oh, even better."
Well, you're very welcome. It's kind of, it's one of those things you've got to put it out there, and you have to let people go away and read it and see what the books are ultimately. So it's a long process.
Well, what we've found with this whole podcast and thing is we've kind of made a little network over the last year of like other various podcasts that we're really into.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like we wanted to start. I don't want to say like giving back or anything, because that sounds really, crap. But we want to start getting people on who were like independent. We didn't want to go for the big guys. Not saying you're not big, but we wanted to get like people that we could get into, and we wanted to try and get them on, and that's kind of when we fell upon you guys, and I'm so glad we did.
Brilliant, thank you. And I think that's a good way of doing it. And the only way that we can keep kind of making stuff here in Britain and to keep kind of expanding what we're doing is to kind of all work together to make those kind of works. And that goes with reviewing works and criticizing works and creating and making new comics and books.
So Gary, you were saying before how it doesn't take you that much time to get the script now written, and it then goes to Tanya and the BHP guys. So do you have any other projects on the go?
Yeah, do you, Gary? Do you have any other projects?
Or anything you're working on?
Know.
I know, it's an expose now. The short answer is no.
I'm so disappointed.
Well, there's maybe something with you guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, there is.
There is. I'm sitting there going, there is something on there.
Oh, yeah, no, I forgot. We can't talk about that one, though.
We can't talk about it for legal reasons.
No, we don't want you to go into it. Just like, do you have much else? Because Plague kind of has really piqued me, and if I've got to wait, a wee while for another issue, it's
Get
kind
your
of
fix.
Aye. Pretty much,
Guy's got some other, decent stuff that he made before he made Plagued.
I had a little look over your, what do they call it? A bibliolog. I can't say that word.
Bibliography.
That's the one.
There you go.
And you have got a few other things. One of the things that did intrigue me was Invisible.
That's right, yeah. That's, funnily enough, my Invisible wee comic that no one really read. Because it was a good opportunity for me to work with an established company and work, taking one of their characters and changing it.
Well, that was the thing that got me. It was the fact that it's an already licensed character. That did you get free reign on that, or
no? There was a bounce back between me and DC Thompson. They had to approve certain things because it couldn't be very adult.
Yeah.
Like initially, the kid became invisible after a night of drinking.
It was like Hollow Man.
Exactly. Just goes about slaughtering people. But yeah, you had to really tone it down. But it kind of didn't work in a sense that it was meant to make it all modern and appeal to the next generation or whatnot. But at the same time, if you're trying to pitch something, you say, "Oh, it's based on an old dandy character," a new audience I don't think is going to care, and an old audience probably doesn't want to see reboots. So I've got like loads of copies. I can give you one. It's a different story, but it doesn't really have anywhere to go.
I'm sure I mentioned it to Chris on the last podcast, and Chris is probably going to slap me in the face for saying this, but when I said that it was an old kind of Dandy character from Dandy Comics, he kind of just went meh.
Yeah. It doesn't peak.
I said my words were, which you and Paul started pissing yourselves laughing at, was I was more of a Beano man than a Dandy man, which is when hilarity ensued.
Turf war.
It was the way you said it, man. He's like a dandy man. One of the other things that I quickly wanted to touch on was the fact that Miranda, the Miranda Chronicles won 2 Scottish Independent comic book awards. What was that like? That must be like a recognition of how good you actually are now.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was quite surreal that night. Just to win Best Comic was an unbelievable honour. And it was such an odd night. Because I remember I had quite bad hay fever, and I took, what was it called again? The hay fever tablets in the morning. And I didn't realise they were making me dead drowsy. So even that night, I had this weird surreal feeling to it, because I was kind of, I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, did I win? It was odd. And I had
I've been there with antihistamines, yeah.
A Drugs Anonymous meeting here, we've all took antihistamines. Yeah, so no, it was amazing. I can't even explain it any more than it was just awesome.
I can imagine. I mean, it's got to be a recognition. And Sha, how does that kind of transfer over to BHP? Is that you've got big kind of award-winning comic sort of thing on the books?
Yeah, I guess we have. I'm quite low key about it, really.
Yeah, even when you go on the website, there's not a massive deal about it. And I'm sure I read this.
We're about to actually redo the website. We've got it redesign the whole thing. So what's on there just now is quite static.
Oh, right, okay.
So the new site's coming up hopefully in the next 2 weeks or so with lots of brand new content.
Excellent.
But yeah, no, it was really fantastic because it's the public that are voting, and it was the first time that I think the awards.
So that's a people voted thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. The shortlist was created from I think about 6 or 7 kind of a submission panel, 6 or 7 people from all various kind of aspects of relating to comics and to storytelling. And so they created a shortlist, and then obviously there's the public then vote over the course of that week and over the weekend Comic Con. So yeah, it was kind of right up to the wire. And yeah, we're just really just stoked for the guys, for Tanya and for Gary to win, and for it to be Best Comic was just awesome. But also, I should feel proud, but I kind of feel just a bit embarrassed.
Embarrassed?
Yeah, just because I'm just kind of, it's it's lovely that we've won. I'm just going to poke my head and hide.
I know what you're saying there. It's you kind of don't want to flaunt it. You get a bit red faced, and you're like, don't ask me.
See, whereas my profile picture is now me holding the award. So
I was going to say, oh hell yeah, I'd be flaunting that son of a bitch.
Walking up to people saying, look what I've got.
I think we will put a little we'll put a quote, or we'll stick a little sticker on the trade paperback award-winning book, which is nice, and that'll go in the press release and all that kind of stuff. So when we get into the nitty-gritty of making a trade paperback, it'll come into its own with press and with media, picking up a story about an award-winning book. Always good.
Oh yeah, it's going to go a long way.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
We met you guys at the Comic Con, and I know Chris is dying to ask about how that all goes with the Comic Cons. But so how does that work for you, Gary? I know you said it was kind of surreal getting that award and all that. How does it work when you're on panels and stuff? Do you do a lot of that, or
not that frequently? I've done maybe 2 or 3. I think the last convention, the last Glasgow Comic Con anyway, I ended up doing about 3, but that was because there's the award winners do a panel as well. So it's usually just a general sort of chat, maybe 1 per convention average. But they're always fun to do, although I kind of learnt my lessons quite quickly doing them, getting used to it. Because the first one when I was on, I noticed I swore, and there was kids, and I was like, oh. And I no. So, you pick up those things to try and, not mess it up.
We're still trying to learn to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't always work, though.
It doesn't work. It never works. And Sha, am I right in saying, Chris, that you guys, Sha, organise Comic Cons?
Yeah, we produce Glasgow Comic Con, which is not the one that you came to. I don't think.
That's the thing. We were at Glasgow Film and Comic Con, run by Showmasters, but you guys do a proper hardcore, old school, proper Glasgow Comic Con, which is all about the comics, not about all being ruined by movies and what have you. So, you guys had from reading up on your website earlier on, you guys had a pretty goddamn successful 2015 Comic Con.
Yeah, it was good. It was really, really good. We had great numbers. We do a festival as well as the Comic Con itself. So the festival has lots of different stuff that happens in the week running up to Comic Con. So there's films and live performance and all different types of stuff. As well as exhibitions, live drawing events and things. So in total, we had about 10,000 people over the week, and we had about 4,500 people over Comic Con weekend.
Wow!
For a pure comic book festival,
that's some good numbers.
Yeah, it was good numbers.
That is some seriously good numbers. Yeah, definitely.
And it's kind of the audience has kind of grown with us, and about probably 30% of our audience is from Glasgow, and the rest is travelling to the city. So for us, we're creating an event which has economic impact, where people coming to buy things from meet those independent makers and creators and artists and buy their works, and they're also spending money in the city to stay over or to eat or whatever. So it's become a thing on the festival. In fact, today we just got announced that Glasgow Comic Con has been announced by the list's Hot 100 cultural contributors to Scotland, and we came in at number 62.
Awesome!
There you go.
Yeah, so that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
That is pretty awesome, yeah. Well done.
On which segue, I actually need to go to the Hot 100 party, which is on just now. So if I can leave in the next 5 minutes, that would be awesome.
It's totally fine, mate. It's totally fine. I think Gary's needing to leave around about 9 as well, aren't you, pal?
Yeah, if that's cool, dude.
So we'll just we'll wrap up this little portion now, and I would like to give both of you the chance, in whatever order you'd like to do, just kind of pimp out what you do, and we'll kind of end the section there. Gary, do you want to pimp out Plagued a little bit, because you can sell it a lot more than I can. It's your
of course. So check out the Plagued trade paperback when it comes out February, March. It's award-winning, comedic, action-packed, Star Wars-esque thrill ride.
Star Wars-esque. I like that.
Yeah, I would say so. The sense of it, family adventure, but also the drama. Yes, I would say go for it. If you want to check out my, all about me as a writer, GaryChudleigh.co.uk. But please do check out Plagued. I feel it's a comic that is picking up steam. So jump on the steam train.
Are you sure you're a writer?
I need to practice my selling. That's the point.
We will continue on the episodes to plug Plagued as well. And I know when the trade comes out, we kind of mentioned maybe trying to get you guys on again towards when the trade paperback comes out, and we would love to have you back on again, definitely.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Absolutely, yeah. And we can't emphasise enough how much we loved Plagued, so even if you don't want to wait for the trade to come out, again, if you want to have a look at it, go to blackheartedpress.com, go to the shop, and there's 3 issues of Plagued already on there. Just go and buy them.
And if you're around at Thought Bubble or at Newcastle Film and Comic Con, we'll be there. Gary will be there at Thought Bubble with me, and I'll be at Newcastle Film and Comic Con with Greg.
With me.
We are also attending Newcastle Film and Comic.
We are, so we'll come up and say hello.
So we'll come and find you. Little bit of news for everyone there, because they didn't know we were going. So Sha, do you want to pimp Blackhearted a little bit, BHP?
Yeah, sure. So BHP Comics, if you like comic books and graphic novels and new kinds of stuff, then please pick up some of our bits. You'll catch the last of our single issues if you come to Thought Bubble or Newcastle Film Comic Con, and you'll also be able to get a pre-sale version of Laptop Guy, the trade paperback.
Ooh.
And then going into next year, we've got lots of amazing new work coming out. We've got a graphic novel called Tomorrow by Gary Mack. We've got the Plagued trade paperback coming out. We've got the issue 1, 2, and 3 of Rock of the Reds by John Wagner, Alan Grant, and
Carlos.
By Dan Cornwall, coming out for the first time, which is a football sci-fi comic, and it's the first time that John Wagner and Alan Grant have come back together as a writing team for 15 years. We've got an amazing graphic novel called Alphabet Book, which is called The Mighty Women of Science by Claire Forrest. That'll be coming out next year, as well as an amazing box of the invention of comics called Comic Inventions, which we are producing in partnership with the University of Glasgow, which is about the history of comics, and also features a chapter on Frank Quitely, the comics guru.
Did you say football sci-fi?
Yeah.
So like the hurricanes in space?
Kind of, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's actually on Earth. There's aliens that are on Earth, but it starts off in space.
You can't use that as a tagline. No, I've patented that.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I'll speak to John Wagner. He'll know all about
That's
that.
what it's getting called. It's the hurricanes in
It's the
space.
hurricanes in
That's
space.
it. You just
Yeah. I'll put that on the in the editorial for the press release.
Well, as long as my name goes beside it.
Absolutely.
Right, so guys, well, we cannot thank you enough for coming on, and we'll get you back on when the trade paperbacks are coming. And anytime you want to jump on, just talk about geeky shit anytime, that's what we do, and we've loved this. This has been
Brilliant. Well, you're very welcome. If you ever want to have Gary, me, and Greg on to do a wrestling talk, we'll happily do that as well, because we're all wrestling.
I think you might have Chris sold on that one.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's been
It's a
dying.
WrestleMania special.
He's been dying to do a wrestling episode. He has been.
I have been dying to do a wrestling
Oh, let's do
episode.
a wrestling
for a while
episode.
now, yeah.
Let's do a wrestling episode. There
Yes.
we go. Yeah.
do I have to be in that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shut up. You want to have heard this guy talking about WWE 2K16 all week. He's never shut up about it.
Yeah, about how hard it is.
Uh-huh.
Right, so guys, again, we'll end this little section here, and
Cheers.
honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on.
All right, you're very
Yeah,
welcome.
this has been very cool. Thank you very much.
See you both in Newcastle. Cheers, guys.
You will
Bye.
do.
Definitely.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Cheers now.
See you later, Gary.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake from the History of Bad Ideas. And we'll get back to your regularly scheduled program here in just a second, geek listeners. But we do a weekly podcast called The History of Bad Ideas.
Yeah, well, we'll discuss things like television or movies or music or games or any other thing that falls into our geek-related podcast knowledge.
You can find us on Geek Life Radio, Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, or Radio-Blitz, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, or you can listen to us whenever the hell you want on iTunes and Stitcher.
Check us out. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum!
Astro Radio Z is a horror, cult, exploitation film podcast hosted by me, Derek Carey. I was one of those monster kids growing up. The one that used to sit in the back end of that video store and scour over every single last film cover you saw back there. From the slashers to the monsters to the sleazy stuff. Yeah, I was freaking obsessed. And I still am. So much so, I became a filmmaker myself. Now I bring on all my filmmaker friends, critics, musicians, and any other fans of the dark arts, which are horror, exploitation, and cult film. Are you one of these people? Then tune in and listen to my show, Astro Radio Z.
Is it bad?
Did you enjoy that there?
Is it bad that all I can think of is Rug Boy?
No, not at all. I just want to point out, like, during that promo there, Kev was headbanging so hard that his earphones came down in front of his face, so he looked like Geordie LaForge.
I did look a bit like Geordie LaForge, didn't I?
You did.
So that last section, that was Gary Chudleigh and Sha Nazir, the writer behind Plagued and the head honcho over at BHP. We can call him head honcho now. I feel like we know him.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I kind of like the Godfather. I think we should keep on with that.
The Godfather, the Sha Father.
Yeah.
The Sha Father. What?
But yeah, that was cool speaking to those guys. We really appreciate them coming on. That was brilliant.
It was great. We're going to meet them at Newcastle Comic Con again.
Yes, so we're going down to Newcastle at the end of November. So
that's going to be awesome.
We're looking forward to meeting up with you guys, meeting Tanya as well.
And we'll probably do we will do an episode for that as well. So we probably.
Oh yeah, and I love the idea of a wrestling episode as well.
I can't believe I'm going to get roped into this wrestling episode, aren't I?
And Gary is a Buffy man as well, so that's another episode.
What is that
as
all
well.
about? I'm just getting
people
surrounded.
like Buffy, Kev.
I'm just getting surrounded by you guys.
If you like Doctor Who as well, then you're totally screwed. You're getting Hyde.
Yeah, but Chris Aitchison seems to think I do like Doctor Who, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, what
was that about? I didn't argue with him.
Get your facts right, honey boo boo. We're gonna move on to our top 3 to finish off this episode, episode 21 of the 365 Flicks podcast, in case you didn't know. And the top 3 this week is a particularly apt one, because Plagued is about post-apocalyptic world, and so is The Walking Dead. So, segue.
Yeah.
See, did you get my reasoning behind that?
Kind of.
You didn't, did you? You just kind of
Not
went.
really.
You wanted to do a Walking Dead one as well, though. I wanted to do a Walking Dead one because
the idea was it's going to be shit moments of The Walking Dead, but then we're doing the most sort of the best moments or most kick-ass moments of The Walking Dead. So I get to mention Carol 3 times. So you know,
is your top 3 all Carol moments?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, we're gonna do like top 3 best badass Walking Dead moments. Carol.
So what did you make of, before we get into the top 3? What did you make of the latest episode of The Walking Dead?
What, the Morgan episode?
The Morgan episode, yeah.
I suppose it had to slow down at some point.
Oh, did it though?
I suppose it did. I mean,
did it though?
Well, people are crying out. Like when Morgan came back at the end of that episode, back in series 5, and you saw him for a couple of glimpses, and then he came back full time. It was like, where has Morgan been? Where has Morgan been? Everybody wants to know where Morgan's been.
But yeah, that was another thing that the lads at Hobie were talking about it as well, and they said that would have been perfect at the start of the season.
No.
No.
It needed to start in the same way that season 5 started, with the whole Terminus escape. It needed to start with a bang again. And I know it didn't really start with a bang, but it was a pretty intense episode to start with.
It was an awesome episode.
If I got a dose
not as good as the episode that followed, but
no. If I got a dose of like Morgan exposition at the very start of the series, I would have been like, oh, fuck this shit.
I suppose. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Hobie.
You're really having digs at these guys, aren't you?
I'm not.
You have to remember, we do like Hobie.
I've never said anything other than that.
But there are other well-named branded podcasts out there you can listen to, like 365 Flicks podcast. So let's just crack in. So you're number 3 most badass. Also, actually, no, I don't want to move on yet. I want to Glenn. I'm not happy with this. This whole storyline I'm not happy with. I don't like the whole bait and switch, because he's clearly not fucking dead.
Nah, he's not dead.
They are taking the piss out of us now. And did you watch that Talking Dead? I had a bit of a rant.
No. Yeah, you've got a real beef there. I've not watched it. I've never watched it. But you've got a real beef there. Go ahead. This is our belated go fuck yourself, or would you just fuck off moment. Go on, you go.
Basically, Glenn died. Or so it looked, and the first thing I thought when the camera panned out was, he's not dead, because that Dickless fell on top of him. Clearly he's not dead. He's going to be okay. That was Nicholas's guts all over him. You can't kill Glenn in a way that nobody would ever know. So yeah, I was all like, he's not dead. And then like I thought, you know what though, they might actually have done it. And then I watched that Talking Dead. By the way, the first time I've ever watched Talking Dead. Also the last. Chris Hardwick can go and suck a fuck. He is an idiot.
You can go and what?
You can go and suck a fuck. It's in Donnie
Suck a
Darko.
fuck?
It's in Donnie Darko, so it's a term. It's a term in common usage. So,
I haven't seen that once.
So basically, yeah, Talking Dead starts, and they do like this in memoriam section, and it's all like, at the end, it shows you all the walkers that got killed, it shows you all the cast members that got killed, but it doesn't show Glenn. And it's like, please don't be true. Please don't be true. Please, it says it 3 times on the screen. Please don't be true. And then they do like this fucking interview. Damon Lindelof, who I love because he's one of the co-writers and co-creators of Lost. So Lindelof goes high up in my book. And Yvette Nicole Brown from Community. And they're like all like sitting there, but he might not be dead. And then he pulls out a fucking email from Scott Gimple, the fucking showrunner of the show, who says, don't worry, we'll see Glenn again on screen. What the fuck? If you're gonna kill someone, or pretend to kill someone, have the fucking conviction to follow it through.
You know, if you were the showrunners or the show whatever, surely they've got a say on what goes into the companion show. So wouldn't you be, if this prick has said that, wouldn't you be like, what the hell are you doing?
I think they shit the bed. I honestly think they shit the bed. I think Scott Gimple thought, you know what, we've done this, and we know it's going to play out that he's actually alive, and he's like, but people are going to go fucking crazy, so we can't pretend for too long. I think he shit the bed. They could have kept that going. If he isn't dead, they could have kept that going for another 2 or 3 episodes, and then revealed he wasn't dead. Not go on the Talking Dead and say, oh, it's okay, he's actually alive, Chris Hardwick. And you know what? Somebody on Facebook said he has the most annoying voice in the world. He does. He really does. Doesn't hurt that he's just spewing pure shite. So yeah, that's my... That's my beef, that's my rant. And I keep hearing about this guy because he also done the companion show for Breaking Bad, like Talking Bad, because that's fucking original. And yeah,
never watched that either. I'm
not a big fan of this guy. I don't know what else he's done. I don't know how big he is. I really hope he's not that big, otherwise I've probably lost half of our core audience. I'm not a big fan of this guy. And they've ruined the whole Glenn bait and switch. Now I want him to be dead.
He might still be, but he's not going to be.
It would be nice if he is, but you're not going to kill Glenn off screen, are you?
No. I tell you what, I actually watched that episode back with my dad at the weekend, and that scene where, you know, the guy with the perm sort of shot himself and they fell, and then it was a close-up of Glenn's face as those guts were, and my dad went, oh no!
Well, you so said even that, sort of my, said that.
No, my dad said that.
Oh, we need to get your dad on an episode.
Okay.
We could get him to watch like 24 Deaths, like when.
Damn, you know what? I never asked the guys as if they like still game.
You know, like when Jack Bauer had to kill Chappelle, we could get your dad to watch that bit again and just have like a whole podcast of him sitting there going, oh no, oh.
What, are you just gonna try and make my dad cry?
Well, he's a big man. So, your number 3 most badass moment of The Walking Dead so far.
Okay, so number 3 is from season 4, episode 8, Gone Too Far.
See,
Far Gone.
I've not got any notes like that.
Well, you're among. Too Far Gone. It's when the governor is kicking the shit out of Rick, and he's kind of strangling him, stuff like that. Ooh. And Michonne comes up and stabs the fucker through the chest.
Who does she stab through the chest?
The governor?
Oh, right, yeah, at the prison.
Yeah, when they're, the governor and Rick are battling and stuff, and the governor's beating the fuck out of Rick.
That is pretty badass.
And he's kind of on top of him, and he's choking him and all that. And then Michonne comes up behind him and samurai sword through the chest. Awesome.
Michonne's an amazing addition to that show.
She is.
She's kind of...
Yeah, we like Michonne.
We do, we love...
Took me ages to remember her name, though.
We do. I love Michonne, and I keep wanting more from her. I keep wanting more kind of deaths from her. But do you think that Michonne and Rick are ever going to get together?
Wouldn't it be Michonne and Daryl?
You would hope so. No, Carol and Daryl, surely.
Carol and Daryl.
Yeah, because it rhymes.
True.
But I keep like, you know, when I watch it, and I don't know if it's just a subconscious thing, but I keep getting struck with this notion that Michonne and Rick are gonna end up together.
Maybe.
And I'd quite like to see it.
It's really not something I've thought about, to be honest. I'm watching a fucking zombie show, not a fucking rom-com. No, shut up. What's your number 3?
My number 3 was, it's not so much a badass moment where somebody does a badass thing, and I can't remember what series it was, but Bob's Burgers is number 3 for me. When Bob comes to, and Gareth's got him tied to the thing, and he's basically eating him.
Oh, okay, aye, okay.
Because that was more of a moment that kind of like, I went, oh shit! I was just like, what the oh. And I thought Gareth was a bit of a badass. And then they killed Gareth like 2 or 3.
Yeah, that was a complete waste.
Yeah, that was, they didn't do a very good job of that, did they? I thought he was going to be a mainstay villain for at least the series. Like, kind of a governor type guy, but nah, were like, nah, fuck it, we're going to kill him.
Well, the thing is, like, then they'd started mentioning the name Negan, and I still don't know a great deal about it, other than he's, like, the big bad, you know.
Yeah, he's just, like, a huge, big, bad asshole, and he's pretty much in the comic books, he's very much...
You know what, after Imran was telling us about the Walking Dead comic book in the last episode, I do quite fancy reading it now.
But do you not think you'll get the same thing that I got with like the Game of Thrones? Like, because you're watching it, you can't really get into reading it.
Maybe.
Because I tried to read Game of Thrones, but because I'm watching it, it's like, I can't be bothered with this hefty book.
Well, I've read the first 2 Game of Thrones books, and the first book is pretty much scene for scene for the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're kind of, when you're reading it, you're kind of just replaying scenes from the show in your head.
See, that doesn't really appeal to me.
But then the thing is, they're not doing that anymore. They've gone off book, so
yeah,
you'll probably be all right.
What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is from season 3, episode 15.
I like how you've got the titles and the names and.
Oh yeah, I've done my homework.
I've been working all day.
Shut up. Season 3, episode 15, The Sorrowful Life, and it's when Daryl kills or has to kill zombie Merle. Oh. Yeah,
that's a good one.
That is a good one. That was one hell of a scene.
That whole episode was quite not a bad episode, but like giving you some feels. Daryl and Merle were a very, very complex brother duo.
Yeah, because didn't they kind of. Merle convinced Daryl to say, go fuck yourselves to the group, and they went off themselves.
Which you're kind of just waiting for anyway.
Yeah.
When is Daryl just going to give up on the rest of them?
Oh, he can't be doing that.
He has to at some point. He does.
you know, how he and the two in the car were sort of leading the zombies away.
Yeah.
Daryl sort of fucked off. Where was he going?
He was going to help.
Was he going to Alexandria?
Yeah, he was going to help the Alexandrians.
Right,
and
the Alexandrians, right.
He decided halfway that he wasn't going to bother, because that's just...
Yeah, because that confused me. I kind of missed it.
I think they're really screwing Daryl over this series. I know we've only had 3 or 4 episodes, but they're really screwing that character over. He doesn't seem to be able to make a decision. When he does make a decision, he goes back on it 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
He's kind of just...
I liked where they where they were going with him at the end of the last season, where they were going to have him. He was going to be the one who was going to go and look for new townspeople. I liked that.
I did like that.
Anyway.
I like that, and it's a perfect job for him.
Your phone's going apeshit, by the way. All I can hear is the fucking feedback. Mine's switched off, so it's not mine. What's your number 2?
My number 2 was, and you know that he was one of my favourite characters. They never, ever really got the full potential out of him that they could have done, considering in the comic books, from what I know of him, he's a huge character. He's basically Rick's right-hand man once Shane dies. Tyrese, hammer time. You know, when he's pinned up against the car and the walkers are all around him. It's probably the only time he ever did anything. And he had the hammer, and he just started knocking the lumps out of all of them, and you thought, oh well, this is when Tyrese dies, and he somehow got out of it just with his magical hammer. He was just absolutely beasting them.
His magical hammer. Were you not just sick of him? Did you know when they did the full episode? Was it not when they got to Alexandria, or just before, or something?
He was dead before that,
and he got bit and all that, and he was having the flashbacks and everything.
Oh, and he kept seeing
Were you not just like, oh bollocks, who cares? Just die already.
You know what? No, I'm still firmly in the Tyrese should never have died camp. I'm still a big Tyrese fan.
He was shite.
He was shite because they ruined the potential that he had. They turned him into the babysitter. He just kept carrying Judith around, and it was like anytime.
But I quite like the idea of he killed to protect Judith.
Yeah, I
like that idea, but then they ruined that completely because he didn't kill anyone.
No, they kind of he didn't kill him, did he?
So that He should have died a long time before that.
They just wasted the character is all they did. He should have been so much better. But
didn't you tell me in the comics that he's Rick's right-hand man rather than Daryl?
He basically... Well, Daryl's not in the comics, is he?
Yeah, aye.
But basically, when Shane dies, from what I remember, he kind of steps up, which is a bit shit.
Well, it is because they could have done more, but they didn't, so...
Well, yeah, he just became the babysitter. It was like Carol and Daryl and Rick were going on an away mission, so Tyrese had to look after the baby.
Yeah.
Simples.
So my number 1, and you'll probably guess this, my number 1
Rambo
is Season 6, Episode 2, JSS, Carol the fucking Slayer. Awesome.
Carol the Wolf Slayer.
Awesome.
She was amazing.
I put a post on our page on Facebook. That for me was the best hour of The Walking Dead in 6 seasons.
I think it was because it kind of just started. And it was all nice and calm, as The Walking Dead usually is. And then all of a sudden, it just kicked off. There was no real warning. It just kicked off. And then it never stopped.
Wasn't it? Because Carol was doing her invisible thing. They were talking about recipes and that. Yeah. And then she looked out her window. And then the woman who was smoking Just kind of got her throat slit, and then it all kicked off. That whole episode was so fucking cool. And you know that Carol is my favourite character in it. I think everybody does.
She's everybody's favourite character.
I'm still actually on the frame of mind where if Carol dies, I'm out.
I'm kind of there. I'm very much kind of there. But I'll not quit just because she dies. Daryl, yes.
You would no. You see, I could cope with Daryl dying.
I think if they kill Judith,
not Carol,
I might give up.
You're a sick bastard. You want Judith to get killed? She's just a little baby.
You're okay with those two little girls being killed, but you're not okay.
Yeah, those two little girls were assholes, though. Not both of them. Not both of them.
Right.
The eldest one was.
Leave Mika alone, all right? She just wanted to look at the world in a nice light, and the world was not like that anymore.
Well, the world wasn't like that anymore, so you fucking slap her silly. You slap the crazy out of her and tell her to get a grip, alright?
Well, you make her look at the flowers, apparently.
Yeah, well, that's the best thing for her.
You're so cool.
Shut the fuck up. What's your number one?
My number one was Rick. It had to be Rick for my number one. I can't remember what series it was. I think it was series 4 when they got cornered by the rednecks. Carl and Rick got cornered, and the big rapey guy was looking at Carl like he was going to rape the hell out of him, and Rick just turned around and bit that guy's throat clean out.
Yes, I kind of remember that.
Because I just remember sitting there and actually fist pumping the air and shouting, "Get in there! Go on, Rick!"
You know what? I did have a sort of honourable mention for Rick. Is when they were in the prison, and you know how they discovered the machete in the head.
Aye.
Where they discovered the other prisoners in the prison, and it looked like they were going to try and be a bunch of pissy bastards, basically. Aye. And machete in the head. And I think I had a similar response to that, where I kind of punched the air when Rick just shoved the fucking machete in the middle of the guy's head. It was awesome.
Because every now and then you get a scene, or you get a moment when Rick does exactly what you want Rick to do.
Yeah.
He does exactly what you would do in that situation, and he does exactly what you should do in that situation. Doesn't always happen, but every now and then, like killing the husband in that last series, and then confronting everybody in the fucking town. Okay, he was waving a gun at them like a crazy bastard, but that's what you wanted.
But that was a good monologue as well.
That was a great monologue when he's like, who's gonna do that? And he's like, me? Kind of just fucking ranting at them was awesome. When he bit that guy's throat out, machete to the head, shooting Sophia in the head. Just amazing moments that Rick, he becomes who you want him to be.
A lot of shit moments as well, though.
Yeah.
You know, he became a gardener, and he went off his head.
He was a gardener for a while. Yeah, and he did go off his head for like 3 episodes. But was that not just because...
And then, you know, let's just talk about beard.
I like the beard.
Because that annoyed me for a long time. He's clean shaven now, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I was actually looking through some of our older episodes, and I saw that we do, I think it's like the second episode we did, it was like Walker Gimps and Rick needs a wash. And I remember that being your line in the whole episode, like, just have a wash, just have a shave your beard.
Yeah, that just scunnered me for a long time.
Yeah,
it's just ugh.
I got away with it. I quite like the beard, but
no.
I would like to think that if I was in a post-apocalyptic situation, I could rock a beard like that.
No. No.
But yeah, the biting of the throat was probably the first time in The Walking Dead that I really I roared at the TV, because Rick did exactly what I wanted him to do. He just snapped and bit someone's throat out.
Fair enough. So that's The Walking Dead, our favourite moments of The Walking Dead.
Top 3 badass moments.
So that's been episode 21 of the 365Flicks podcast. Look for us on Facebook. Look for us on Twitter. Look for us on Musings of a Geek, on Wicked Radio Network, on the awesome Tangent Bound Network,
yep.
And the Geeky Antics Network Global. I went blank there for a second.
And our British home.
And our British home, nerdly.co.uk.
But, you know, just get on your Googles, 365Flicks podcast. We're there. I think we're probably like on the 8th page, but we're there. We're doing all right.
We're doing all right. And we'll be back very soon.
We will be back very soon.
With another episode, hopefully, with Dallas Action Guys.
Oh, that'd be cool. We're getting that sorted.
We've got it planned. We just don't know when the hell we're going to do it, because November is quite a busy month.
And we've got the wrestling episode now.
We're going to do a wrestling episode with Sha and Gary. That's going to be awesome. I have wanted to do a wrestling episode for a while now.
You have. We did do one. It just didn't really pan out too well.
Did we do one?
Yeah, we did one for WrestleMania, but it fell by the wayside. Remember?
Well, we planned to do a WrestleMania review. We didn't actually record anything.
Yeah,
did we?
I think we did record it. It just didn't record.
Shit, that's right.
As
yeah,
I remember.
Okay.
So yeah, this has been a nice little episode. It's been probably quite a short episode. It was we got to speak to Sha and Gary, which was awesome. Got a little bit of news in there. Not a great deal of news to be talking about.
I've still got news there that I've not talked about.
Well, we'll do that. We'll save that.
We will.
And then, of course, we have done our top 3 Walking Dead moments. So I think that's a good place to end episode 21. We'll be back for episode 22, so listen out.
You are now leaving the world of Musings of a Geek Podcast Network. Stay geeky, my friends.